Welcome to Sloss and Humphries on the road, where it actually is Sloss and Humphries. We're doing a Q&A. All of the patrons put in their questions and we've just answered them. I'm recording this afterwards. But I've come on here to do a little plug at the beginning for my tour. I'm going to be on tour from the 10th of October, starting in the UK, doing all the major cities in the UK and then doing a lot of the cities in Europe. All the ones that are on sale are available on my website. That is www.kaihumphries.com. 3 W's. I've been corrected on that before when I do 2. Also, I've got a bonus for you here. Altitude Festival have give us a code word. What do you call it? A discount code for 10% off Altitude tickets. It is Muggins and Cream 25, all block capitals, Muggins and Cream. Use the word and, not the ampersand. Muggins and Cream 25, that'll get you 10% off, but you have to buy it outright. That doesn't work with the scheduled payments. If you're doing it like split payments, the code doesn't work for some reason, but you can get it on the full price one. And sign up for Patreon is my next plug. If you want to ask questions for the next time we do a Q&A, if you'd like a signed poster, if you'd like a thank you video, there's a bunch of perks on there. Go and have a little peruse of them, see which ones you like, and subscribe to the tier that suits you. And whichever tier you subscribe for, every week you'll get a bonus episode. So that's an episode just for the people who keep the lights on. And I hope you enjoy them. Enjoy the Q&A.
Sloss and Humphries on the road.
Muggins and Cream, Cream and Muggins, straight thuggin', living the dream.
That's our intro.
Fucking Muggles.
Tickling the clit inside your head that makes you laugh. They said it can't be done.
Can I tell you how much my wife fucked me over the other day?
Yes.
And called me out. It was a call out I was not expecting from the love of my life.
Nah, you got called out, like you got...
In a way, in a way that you'll be on my side of it. Like that was unbelievably brutal. Like what an unfair thing to do to.
Like when I pointed out to my dad that he says sort of like quite a lot, and then he kept just going every time he did it.
Of that ilk, I can't remember who was round. But I was having, I think it was with Big Ali. Oh yeah, I think my mate Ali was round, right? And we were all talking to each other, and obviously our son is there just being chaos, and so while you're having a conversation he's trying to talk to you as well, and you're like, hey man.
I was telling you it was a story before, and I kept getting shown pictures of strawberries and oranges, and I'm like, oh yeah, good orange dude, and then like, where am I in this story again? Yeah, he's been on the podcast.
He doesn't do it to be rude, he just does, like, he's the centre of the universe.
He's joining the conversation the only way he knows he can.
So it's just one of those scenarios where we're having a conversation, and then so being like, yeah, that's amazing, you're the best. Yeah, back. I do this fucking riff. I just do like an off the cuff fucking remark, but it's like lost in the chaos of like Cara talking to Kaelin, Ali holding fucking Ayla. So I give it like 3 seconds, and then I say it again to Big Ali, and she went, "Didn't get enough of a laugh the first time, did it?" I was like, "Oh man, you gotta let me."
Yeah, like, you got a second swing.
Yeah, you're on my side. You gotta give me the thing. Like, if you heard me not get the laugh the first time,
I haven't been getting laughs off strangers recently, baby.
Oh yeah, and it is affecting me.
It's a void in my life.
And it was so funny, and I pointed out to her. I was like, I cannot believe you. She was like, I just wanted you to know that I saw the joke fail the first time. I'm like, well then, alley-oop the second one, right? I remember when I was doing 8 out of 10 cats for the first time, right? Bombing on my fucking hole. I'd done like 2 TV shows, went on to 8 out of 10 cats, was shit, right? Because I was just like, oh my God, I'm on 8 out of 10 cats. And I did like 2 jokes straight off the back, and the audience didn't know who I was. The jokes probably weren't particularly good, and the audience did not fucking care about me at all. And I lost full confidence. So
just clammed up and just enjoyed watching fucking Sean Locke and Jimmy Carr going toe for toe.
Yeah, I'll just sit here and I'll just
be entertained.
Yeah, I'll just have like the best seat in the house for 8 out of 10 Cats Live on the fucking panel. And you've got your jokes written out in front of you, and like all the topics and stuff, and the stuff that you sort of pre-prepared. And Jason Manford, who is my team captain, can clearly see that just this 21-year-old is just dejected and lost all confidence. And without saying anything, he taps one of my jokes on the bit of paper. Right? He just taps that one, and I'm like, what? And he sets me up for it perfectly. He's like, well, so here's the thing I was thinking. This thing that's going on in the news today, it's sort of like da-da-da-da-da. And I went, oh my God, that's the setup for my fight. And then I got to come in with the joke. And I'm like, how come Jason Manford's a better partner?
You should have married
than
Jason.
my wife.
Should have been the marriage of Daniel and Jason.
Yeah. I don't think he wouldn't have been faithful, though.
He would have cheated on you heaps. He would have been DMing beds for tits. Not quite on the same thing, but my wife pointed out something that I was doing that was cruel to her that I didn't even realise. In my set, right, I mentioned about her being posh, and then later on in my set, I do a bit about the dip, which I've told you about. You know, I think you've seen it, where it's like the working class people do swear words.
Yeah.
But
dog shit.
But then,
that's just smelly shit. You are not it.
but then posh people allude to catching black people. Allude to it without saying it.
Yeah, catch the tiger.
Catch the tiger, catch the fishy. Like, fishy. You think they're fishy, do you? All right. So I end that with, you see working class people scummy on the surface, posh people rotten to the core. Yeah. But like, I do it shortly after referring to her as posh. It's just like, well, it was nice you just called us rotten to the core. I was like, oh no, I didn't even mean that.
But also, yeah.
But yeah, you did say that. You did do that. If it squeals, let it go. Come on. So yeah, I felt bad about that afterwards. So I was like, I had never even crossed my mind that I did that.
Well, fucker.
But you know what it is.
Aye.
Subliminal.
I'll teach her the fucking Tory.
Let's do some Q&As. We've got some, hey, listen up, Patreons. Which actually, we're speaking to everyone here because this is a public episode, but this is powered by the Patreons because the subscribers on tiers 2 and 3, Same Seats and Dads, get to ask us questions as part of their perk package. We haven't done one of these in a while. So we're catching up on stuff now.
Also, I want to do a plug that's not really a plug because I can't really plug this thing because then that would be me admitting that I listened to it. But Enemy of the Pod, Dave Longley, has a new podcast out.
It's horrific. Don't listen to it.
I cannot.
It breaches all of my standards.
I cannot not recommend it enough. It is.
My morals have been shattered into bits.
It's sexist. It's homophobic. It's racist. It's generally bigoted.
It's wrong.
It's childish.
Deeply wrong.
It's pathetic.
Uh-huh.
I've listened to every episode.
It's incredible. The opinion cow has some awful opinions. And I'm glad he's there to hold it to account, actually. The points where Dave Longley holds that opinion cow to task.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he's there.
Yeah, it's really
to do it, because if that opinion cow is letting it just go, if that opinion cow ends up with its own podcast, society crumbles.
Don't listen to it. It's not on YouTube. It is on YouTube. It's BBC Radio Derby. Just type in Dave Longley. He doesn't have much stuff out there.
Oh, as well, before it gets taken down.
Oh yeah. Like one of the
Jerkmate are going to take it down.
Yeah,
he uses Jerkmate as a sponsor without getting their sponsorship.
It's just him pretending that he runs BBC Radio Derby, which by the way is a lawsuit. Which is a lawsuit in itself. You can't
calls
just
it BBC Derby.
You can't just say that you're BBC Radio Derby and then put this out on the internet and then expect nothing to happen. And then during all of the ad breaks, it's just all of the Jerkmate adverts that he listens to.
Oh, and then he does the weather sponsored by Jerkmate.
Yeah,
it's so funny.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not funny. It's not funny. I can't laugh. It's sick.
It's really
fucking sick.
You know when you're like, are we still doing like racist voices to make people laugh? Dave Longley is, and he's doing it well.
I swear to God that was not an Indian man that called in. That was a pre-recording of Dave Longley doing an Indian accent. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
I'm certain.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Anyway, don't listen to it. It's awful.
Don't listen to it. We couldn't advise that. So we're going to listen to your questions, bud.
So Pin Van de Wheel asks Daniel, with the edit for Hubris being done, do you have any idea when it will be released?
Good question.
No idea. Same with whatever my fucking last show was called.
Can't.
That's it. We filmed them both. I mean, they should. I feel like I've gone through Hubris once. I've gone through and like looked at the stuff in it and been like, cut that out, keep that in, meld those two fucking bits together. Hopefully by the end of the year, I imagine. But I've lied before and I've been lied to.
I'm so happy with my edit for Mischief as well. But I'm like, the clock is ticking on it. There's one bit where, because I recorded in 2023, there's one bit where I just in the future go, the year is 2025, and then do like a near future prediction.
Yeah.
Right. It's getting on to 2025 now. Like, that's going to be dated real quick.
Yeah, I don't know how Ice Cream for the Jews is going to do now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They did.
The whole point was like them being the victims of like a genocide, and it was about the Tory government, which we don't have anymore, and it was about COVID.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just feel like it's super, super fucking dated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've even got a bit that's in my show that I'm about to start touring. That I'm like, I think that's dating already.
Yeah.
Like it's just about when Rishi Sunak was like, we don't have Sky TV. It's a bit about that, and I'm like, oh, I'm already like losing sight of that one now. That's going to be gone before the end of the tour.
This is where people who like the game has changed, and I actually think it's a better way. Like the fact that people are now able to be like, I've written a topical joke, I'm going to do it tonight on stage, and I'm going to put it out fucking tomorrow on Reels,
and then it's gone.
Yeah,
I'm not going to cling on to it for dear life.
Yeah,
forever.
like I feel like that is. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've got heaps of fucking catching up to do in modern stand up, and I'll catch up whenever I decide to do it again.
Haley Christie asks, would you consider a reward added to a tier such as the Dad tier that included general recordings for supporters to download and use for either ringtones?
Do people still use ringtones?
Well, she says
I
such
guess.
as like motivational quotes that we can play when we're anxious, or have guests on the show such as Craig Hill reading a bedtime story, or a ditty from Martin Nelson, a motivational quote from Ryan Cullen, or a ringtone message from Elliot Steele.
So, like every time we've got a guest, we'll get them to do something specifically for the dads. We could do that. Yeah, that's absolutely it. Like I am very open to these suggestions, especially how I'm quite proactive at the minute of getting shit done. I'm on a good work ethic right now. I think like with me tour coming up, I'm like, wait, like I normally just turn up to work, read a book, and do my spot with you. I've got a shift ticket. That's what you've been doing.
Now that it's your turn.
That's what you've been doing, like in face to camera videos and shit. Fucking hell, I'm grafting.
Oh, I fucking.
You know,
every pre-America tour, in fact, even fucking Europe, actually, every tour, what they make you do. And I don't get me wrong, I understand that this sometimes works. It doesn't feel like it works. It feels like a fucking waste of time, but it does work. What they do is they go, hey, here are the 50 dates coming up in America. Here's the venue, here's the date, here's the city, and here's the time. Can you do 1 minute to camera, just being like, hey, Boston, it's me, Daniel Sloss. If you've never heard of me, I'm a comedian. I've been on fucking Netflix. I've been on HBO. My show X is, and I'm going to be coming to the Wilbur on the 19th of October. And then you have to do that for every single fucking
and it takes
place.
all day.
Oh,
because
God.
I think you're a bit more natural to me, which is why you used to do all the intros all the time for this. Because for me, I kind of did in one take. So if I've got like Live Nation are doing 17 of the gigs, so all the ones in Europe are independent promoters who'll want their own stuff, but they'll ask it for it as an individual thing, or the 2 gigs they're running. Live Nation wanted videos for 17 things. I wish that was just recording 17 videos. That was recording approximately 170 videos and then picking the one out of the 10 for each that I'd done. That, like, I still looked at with a perfectionist eye going, not good enough, but I'm not going to do another 170 until I get the one I need.
It's just like it's
trying to make them unique to each place in case anybody sees 2.
And this is again where I feel like I'm now at the stage of my career where I feel like and I've often said I don't want to become like one of the old bitter jonglers comics, but when you see just the younger generation and the new generation of comedians sort of changing what the game is and driving it forward, because that's what progression is, and just going, fuck, I don't know if I can do that. I only ever believed that the one talent I had to have was just going on stage and being fucking funny, and that was it. That was the whole thing. Whereas now,
and that's why there's an industry around it. That's why there's like a bunch of people working around you in these different companies and producers and everything, because then they just get the person that's done 80% of the job writing the show and performing the show and getting to the venue, and they do the 20% around it.
And now there's just people who are just so infinitely better than I am in terms of like engaging with their audience. They're able to like all of their videos, like fucking say we like about Bert Kreischer, is really good at promoting any of his fucking shows. Like he puts lots of money into it. He makes each one fucking unique. Like, but with the younger comics now being like, I'm doing this, I'm going here, I'm doing this, come see me, and all in these creative ways. And I'm like, God, I really am just fucking sitting in my office saying this to camera.
It doesn't feel good enough.
Like, am I just fucking outdated and shit now?
But then I started thinking about like, what can I do? There's 17 gigs, right? Maybe I could like get out of bed and do one of them, brush my teeth and do the other, get in the shower and do the other, and then they could stitch together into like my whole day. I'm in the gym doing another one and all that, and you could stitch it together. Or is that just gonna make someone like Mark Nelson going, you see this stuff cut? Is that going to make one of your peers just going, look, this couldn't make an effort?
Aye. That is always the thing. I was talking to a friend of ours the other day where they were making a career decision, and they were like, but what if my peers don't respect me for it? And I was like,
It's a fear.
I was like, one, first of all, nobody respects.
Yeah.
Nobody to this particular person. I was like, first of all, mate, I say this with all love. Nobody respects you anyway. Get that out of your head. But even if they did, that can't be your fucking fear. As someone who, for so long, desperately sought the approval of peers and colleagues and whatever, and never felt like they got it. And I'm not saying I'm surpassed this point in my life and that I'm looking back on it with any form of wisdom, but like I'm certainly getting to the point where I'm like, man, I've done everything my way. I'm really happy with where I am in my personal life, in my fucking career. And now I feel like, at least compared to 25-year-old me, if someone I was to sort of see as a peer and an equal was to sort of be like dismissive of me, I'd be like, I don't really care what you think anymore, man.
Yeah. Whereas if you see someone do that, you will bitch.
Yeah. Oh,
you will bitch if you don't like how they conduct themselves.
I think, yeah.
So to wrap it up, what was the question? Can we do a bit more for the patrons with our guests? Like get them to just like give them a bit of motivation, a ringtone, just like something. Yeah, I think they'd be well up for that. Do you know as well? There's something on Patreon now where it's like somebody can somebody can buy this post, so it only goes out to one person. So you just put it up and they can buy it. And it suggests, because it's a new feature, it suggests you do that every time you put a podcast out. And I'm like, no, this is for everybody. They've paid for it already. Why would I do that? What could that possibly be? This is actually just a question to the audience. What could it possibly be that you want to buy that nobody else can see?
Dick pic.
A dick pic? Just like an hour-long podcast if we're jacking each other off? Should OnlyFans it? Should just turn a thing into a one-time purchase OnlyFans? What would you like as a one-time purchase?
Like, they've got to be there like fucking Oasis tickets. They've got to be there online to get it.
They've got to get it there when it drops. Or they've got to be there going, oh, I'm not paying 50 quid for it. Oh, it's gone. Now I need it.
Yeah.
I'd pay 100. It's gone. Tough luck. So what could that feature possibly be for? What are other podcasts doing? I don't know what people are doing with that feature.
I don't think that's the right way to conduct ourselves. What's everyone else doing? We'll do that. Even though that is the entire basis of this whole podcast. Thank you. Have a word.
I mean, probably Stu Goldsmith or Chris Martin and Carl Donnelly were probably the ones that we followed from. Have a word are the ones that give us the speed boost. Yeah.
And they also were the first to do the American style. Like we're like, fuck it, we're gonna get a studio, we're gonna have a production team, we're gonna do it the way
we're gonna
do
put more of a production element into it. Okay, we'll try and up the stakes for the pod.
Speaking of, you can cut this bit out.
Mark Campbell asks, what's some of your favourite places to gig at over the years, or where have you had your best gig?
Boston springs to mind.
Yeah, Wilbur Special.
The Wilbur is cool.
Yeah. Dallas for me is always one where I'm just like, this is going to be a real... Because I remember the first time I went to Dallas, I had that sort of outside of America, outside of Texas, ignorant, being like, fucking, I'm a big bleeding heart, goddamn live. And here I come to gun-toting, we hate abortions country. Surely there's not going to be.
And then they're really apologetic for the rest of the state.
No, they're still proud Texans.
They are, but they're also like, but we're inclusive.
Yeah. And Dallas sort of surprised me. It's always super high up on my list of like places I'm legit excited to perform in. We've not been there for a while. Fucking Boulder in Colorado, even though Denver's fucking great, but Boulder was really good fun.
While we're still in America, Philadelphia feels like Newcastle, and I always get that like kind of these like a kind of industrial town like that you get from Glasgow and Liverpool, which put them on the list. Glasgow and Liverpool, I always have a belter time performing to people there. Like anywhere where you can't offend them and they'll love it if you try.
Yeah. Brisbane's always good. Brisbane, Australia's always class. Sydney's really good, but like Brisbane's just fucking got it.
Yeah.
Melbourne, I love Melbourne, but you're the clitoris.
Sensitive. That's the one where like you do have to tiptoe a little bit.
Aye. No, you just got to fucking beat them with it. You got to be like, fucking, I know, you got to make them take their medicine. Like, you got to be like, hey, you're allowed to be left wing, but you do have to fucking take jokes about being left wing. You fucking little fucks. In terms of Europe, Prague, always up there. I'm really looking forward to my... I'm doing a tour show in Prague. I'm proper looking forward to that because I just feel like comfortable that I've got like a Geordie contingent in the crowd.
Yeah. Like that just makes us feel like a bit safer.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I'm still playing to some of my people and everyone else from Prague.
Weirdly enough, in the last year, I got a new sort of favourite in Europe. Gothenburg.
Oh,
in Sweden was like, I think it was on a fucking Wednesday. We'd sold out months in advance. Like the staff there were like, we could have done fucking 4 of these. And then they were just super, super energetic. Europe's really hard to pick a favourite because unlike in America where you're like, oh my God, we're going to go to new territories and build an audience here. And unlike in the UK where it's like these are established audience and you're sort of treading the same footsteps as all these other comedians who've toured before you. In Europe, it's like there's not really any fucking bad places because it's still, I know it's not super new, but just in terms of stand-up.
If you're thinking like what it was like, remember the first time we were in Croatia and it was just like, it just felt like received like what prime Chris Rock.
Yeah.
Like it was that like level of just like fucking lifting you like 6 feet off the ground before you've even started.
Yeah.
Like you get that from spots in Europe where like they're just fucking so chuffed you're there.
Also, all of Germany, man. Like Germany's so fucking good, which is so weird, obviously considering the age-old stereotype that they're not fucking funny. Like, I think Germany's one of our biggest markets in Europe in the terms of like we go to like 8 cities there because they're just
we tour Germany now.
Yeah, like when we go to France, we go to Paris. When we go to Sweden, to be fair, Sweden and Norway, we do at least 3 or 4 in each of those places.
Yeah, but I see what you're saying. Yeah, there's some spots we'll go to the capital.
Yeah,
and then,
but Germany's like 7 or 8 cities, and they're all fucking superb.
I mean, it's getting to the point now where we've listed so many places that there's places that we haven't mentioned are getting sad.
Yeah.
Let's do like.
Let's just do all the countries apart from Spain.
Okay, have you got a favourite from India? I feel like Bangalore because that was the first one we did when we got there.
Yeah, they're always wild in Bangalore. It's got to be.
And that was just that initial like, you go on with this like apprehension of like, oh, maybe they might not understand everything, and then it just goes down so well that you're like, oh, I underestimated how much of a comprehension they'd have.
Yeah, good. And then fuck it, we'll do that, and then fuck the rest of India. Kidding, obviously. I shouldn't have said that to the only country that sends me death threats.
I can't wait to get back now.
Kevin Cresswell asks, what's the TV show or film that you guys rewatch because it was that good?
Oh, what do I rewatch? You know what? I can't hate to say it, but fucking Game of Thrones until season 8. Until halfway through season 8, I even thought it got off to a good start. But like when season 8, every new season that came out of Game of Thrones, I rewatched it up until then.
Yeah.
So I rewatched season 1 so many times because you'd always watch through it. It was that good. And then they just dropped the ball right at the touchline.
Yeah. The Prestige is up there for movies. I could just rewatch that over and over again. Warrior, I can watch over and over again.
South Park's,
yeah.
South Park, you can put that on shuffle.
Yeah, and it's got a much higher hit rate than fucking Simpsons now that Simpsons has saturated itself with shite. Whereas I feel like if you think South Park shite now, you're right wing now. And you're like, they're not making fun of everyone. You're like, they are. They're just
making fun of you as well.
Yeah. Oh, they've gone all woke. That's interesting because I do remember an entire season where they made fun of woke babies and PC principal. There was like an entire where they made fun of trans people. There was like 3 entire seasons where they made fun of the left wing.
Do you want a safe space from South Park?
Yeah, they made all of these jokes, and you're like, no, they don't like Trump. Meh. It's pretty fucking pathetic.
I've rewatched It's Always Sunny like 12 times this year.
Yeah, Always Sunny's really good.
I've got this thing where I tend not to rewatch stuff. I'd like, even though we'd go back to a lot of places on tour, I tend not to go back to countries I've already been to because I always want new things. Like even when I'm like, I've only reread one book.
One.
City of Thieves.
Oh, aye.
So I always like, even though like I really enjoy stuff, I rarely go back because that's time I could be using doing something new. But like I think South Park's the one exception where I'll just be like, if that's on now, I'll watch it. If I've got half an hour to kill, I'll watch it.
Kevin also asks, question for Daniel, how long would you like the beard to grow?
Oh God!
You must have been trimming it already. That shape, that.
Yeah. So I've been trimming this just because I didn't want to have like a fucking. I don't think I can pull off the death metal goatee sort of thing where it's just like that, and that's not really the look I want to go for.
Like a pharaoh. Pharaoh.
Pharaoh. Aye. Pharaoh's a name.
That's a place.
Also true. This shit really needs to come in. And
I think never will.
well, I mean, the hair's there. It just doesn't come in.
Do you have any alopecia patches?
No,
I've got
but-
bits where the stubble won't even grow in, like little bits. Like
I did
a bit
for a
under there,
bit.
there's a bit up here.
Fucking Moses was part in
Oh,
this bit
yeah,
for a
yeah.
while, but then it got thick enough.
So you've got
that
a comb over on your alopecia patch.
I've got the same spot on mine.
Oh, is it?
Oh, that's like a
I
brother.
wonder if Dad's got it then.
Probably.
Oh, because I got a scar on my chin. I thought it was something to do with that. I thought maybe I just fucking stunted the.
How did you get the scar?
I was the kid in my school that got British Bulldog banned.
Did you?
No, I didn't campaign for it.
By being bad at it.
No, I was a gobby little shite, and I can't remember what I was doing, but I can almost guarantee that it was my fault because I was small and cocky. Surprise, surprise. And some fucking primary six had just had enough of me, like getting towards the end every single time.
Jawed you?
And just grabbed me by one arm, swung me around 3 times, and just fucking yeeted me.
I think it was his trunch ball.
Oh man, properly. I landed on my body mostly, but I got my chin pretty fucking bad. Ended up with, I kept telling everyone I got stitches, and my mum was always like, "You got butterfly stitches."
It's not stitches. It's a plaster.
Like, we got to stop calling them butterfly stitches because you're acting way harder than you need to be. You fucking loser. It'd be like if I'm a dog that's got in for surgery. It'd be like, I got a cast. You're like, you got a cone, motherfucker. That's not because you're like, oh, I gotta stop. That's how you start licking your dick.
Do you think you'll have a beard on your next special? Is it here to stay?
Yeah, what
Is it like an evolution? Your next tour, your next special is going to be beard, Daniel?
I think so. Cara keeps commenting on my, and not in any form of negative way, but like on my clear like image change. She's like, "What's spurred it? What's going on?" I'm like, "Well, first of all, it's the first time I've ever had heaps of fucking time off."
I'm taking a run to the comeback.
Aye. I've got lots of time off. I've never wanted to grow a beard while I was doing stand-up because all people will do is fucking comment on it, and the second you comment on it, I'll lose confidence in it so quickly. It's got to go. I had to say this to her when I was like, I don't want to tell her anything, but we're in the car, we were driving Caitlin to a fucking place, and it's just like, I've been home from tour for 5 days, just the future is free, I'm off. And I turned to her in the car and I go, I'm gonna see if I can grow my beard out, and I need you to know how insecure I am about it. And like I really need, like I would like support during it, and if not support, just not horrific bullying comments, because we're in love and we make fun of each other all the
Pinky
time.
promise.
Yeah, right. And my wife drives the car and she's like, "Okay, I support you whatever you do. I love you, great."
She's going to be texting Cullen.
Man, worse, right?
She's telling me you're behind your back now. That's what you've made happen.
I bare my soul just like, look, I've always been insecure about it. I've always wanted to grow one. It's always made me feel like less of a man. The fact that I couldn't fucking do it. I tell her all this stuff. She's like, "Great, I love you, cool, whatever." And for like 2 weeks afterwards, friends, family, she'll deny, and she to this day denies this. She says that's just what people do. Her parents come down. They're like, "Hey, I like your beard," and I'm like, "This is worse. You fucking told them to compliment my fucking beard.
You fish
put
for
the fucking
compliment.
bumpers up on life."
Be nice about his beard.
Don't do that.
He's really sensitive. He's
I
really
mean, I am
sensitive.
really-
Just tiptoe around it. If you're going to mention it, be kind. Like, put a nice beard.
But so way worse happens. Is everyone's like, "Hey man, that beard really," and in the phase where it didn't suit me, and I'm like, I know it doesn't suit me. Yeah, I know we're in the fucking 13-year-old Turkish boy stage where it's just coming in fucking patches. People are like, "No, I think it really fucking suits you," and I'm like, you know what? Bullying would have actually been better than this, because bullying would have allowed me to like put my fucking back up and be stubborn. And like, goddamn, I'm good at being fucking
And then
stubborn.
insult them back based on something they didn't even know they were doing wrong.
Exactly. Always go for somebody's fifth insecurity. Right?
Uh-huh.
They're aware of the first two. The next three comes up in therapy. That fucking
they've built
sixth
immunity
one,
to the top
Oh,
ones.
you gotta go for that fucking fifth, sixth insecurity. That was where it fucking hurts. That kidney shot right
Aye.
there.
Oh,
Bring
yeah,
up like if he like here's the best.
If there's a specky ginger guy with braces, go for the wart on his finger.
Yeah. If there's like a fat gay person, remind them that their grandparent, who was the only one they felt comfortable with, died 7 years ago, because that grief is gone, it's past, but it's still deep in there. And if you bring it up once at the right time, you're fucking kidding me, punch the cunt.
Well, are you ready for a bald Kai if I decide to shave my hair, keep balding? Are you prepared for that? Like, I feel like it stopped. Like, it had 2020 had like a moment where it was like the bald patch is coming in,
Yeah.
and it stopped. And I started receding and it stopped. But like, if I have another wave, are you ready for bald me? I'd look old, man.
Yeah, you would. Yeah,
I think at the minute I probably I look younger than my age right now.
Yeah, you'd have to get. You'd also have to. I feel like if you were to go bald, you'd have to get fucking hench.
Oh, do you think I'd have to be?
Yeah.
That would make work.
That's always in my head. Like if
You want to see veins on my head if it's getting shaved, like.
Yeah. If one of my spirals that I go into my head every now and again, I was like, if Cara were to ever die in like a car crash with one or both of my children, I know. The thing I know about myself is I would just turn to alcohol and drugs so quickly and then I would just try and kill myself over time. But if I had a kid left who I had to be there for, I'm like, the only way I would be good was I wouldn't want anyone talking to me. I wouldn't want anyone knowing who I was anymore because I would just have to be somebody different. And my thing would be like full beard. I'd shave my fucking head, and my form of grief would just be 4 hours in the gym every single fucking day. And just getting like
sat there on Tinder.
no, we've discussed this before. I think if Cara were to die, I think none.
Yeah, I mean that's the type of thing that would make you a different person. Yeah. You're just a different person now.
That's what, yeah, man. You just got to fucking. And so with the beard thing, this kind of brings us back to the original fucking question. Is like I've been or at least in my head, like I've been in comedy for 16 fucking years now. I've always been sort of the young one, even though like I've not been young in so very long. And I'm like, you know what? I'm a dad now. I'm a dad of 2. I'm a husband. I'm a different person. And also like
you're a homeowner.
Yeah. I've never really had time to like really work out who I am now because I've always just sort of been like, for half the year I'm Daniel Sloss.
Half man, half Xbox.
Yes. And then the other half of the year I'm like, oh, hey, I'm a family man. And now I get time to fucking be home and I'm like, what am I fucking interested in again? And then this is just like...
The image change comes with a little bit of soul searching.
Yeah. Aye, just been like, man, I was and don't get me wrong, the second we go on tour, I'll be back to hoodies and joggers because that's comfortable to fucking travel in. But, you know,
I became an SUV guy.
Yeah.
Bought an SUV.
Also, Callie said I can never shave my beard.
I become a soccer mom. I drive my husband's car.
Cara says I can never shave my beard now because now that I have, it's really separated, or it's really actually solidified for her how similar me and Jack look. Right, Jack, my younger brother, who's fucking what, 6'2", 6'1", tall. When he's flying for me during the Fringe, people just come up, or when he's not even flying for me, when he's flying for other people during the Fringe, people come up to him and go, "Hey, you look like a taller Daniel Sloss." And he's like, "Yep." That's because we have like the same face.
You missed out on the like rubber mouth, Matthew. I'm talking to Matthew. He's off camera right now. But you had like they've got like a kind of rubber mouth. Like it looks like one of Nina Conti's like face masks that she puts on at people. That's just fucking ventriloquist dummying. You've just got a regular mouth.
You've not got them dick sucking lips.
Another question.
Matilda Sutherland asks, "What has been your favourite memory in the current studio?"
Oh yeah, because this might be the last studio episode that we do.
I mean, the fucking... I still, whenever I'm feeling down, if I ever want to bring joy to myself, I'll go back and watch the clip of you having the sour sweet for the first time.
The sour sweet was good.
That was... And again, that was like first episode. That really felt like... I remember doing that episode and how much effort I put in beforehand with like research and buying these things and setting everything up and being like, God, what a new...
You really created some good stuff there.
And I was like, what a leaf we've turned in this podcast. And then I turned the page again. I'm like, oh, still a lazy fuck.
Yeah. Hold on, but first we'll nearly kill him with a hot chip. We'll really take it down from sour sweet to instant like death.
Aye.
That hurt that. So yeah, I think that day one was the highlight. Day one was the highlight of the studio.
But I move next week, so even though the studio is going to look pretty fucking similar, we hope.
We're just going to transplant everything into the new studio.
Yeah,
and I just had to get that another lick of paint. But like the big thing was like sourcing all of the like. And the cameras and all that, like a lot of the build is just going to be transplanted, so it should be pretty seamless into the new studio. But
but then you go on fucking tour,
and then I go on. You know what? I was looking at my tour because the UK ones first.
Right.
A lot of October, I'm coming back home in between.
Right.
I'm doing like pockets of weekend, like the weekend down south, and some of I'm doing quite a lot of gigs in Scotland. There will be room for podcasts when I'm up here, for sure in October.
Oh, thank God, because I thought I was going to have to fucking pull my finger out.
In November, I might, because in November, me and Connor Burns are touring around Europe, and it's going to last about 4 weeks, and we are taking the equipment, but it's going to be a lot more. It's going to be like the original tours that we did together, where it's a bit more intense time-wise, and there's, especially how I'm doing the longer spot on stage, that would have been when I was setting the room up for it to get back and do the podcast.
Oh my God, are you going to turn this podcast into Humphries and Burns on the road? And then I'm just like, oh my God, I'm just a dad.
The idea would be once a week, me and Connor do an episode, and once a week you do a studio episode with a guest. So that would be when November.
Okay.
Graham Leslie asks, have you thought about an endgame from comedy? If so, where and how would you like to bow out?
I haven't thought about an end game of comedy. In my head, I want, and in my heart, I want to do it forever. I still love the job. I still love writing. This amount of time off has it's double edged. On one side, I'm like, fucking Jesus Christ, I love being a husband and a dad of two. It's the fucking tits. And being and not just and an even more present husband and father of two than a lot of dads get to be, in the sense that like they've got 9 to 5s, they're going offshore, they're doing whatever. I actually get to be there 100% of the time, which by the way does not make me a better father. Ask my wife. I'm still on my phone half the fucking time.
Is it like lockdown when you were like, oh man, if I had time off I'd learn a second language? And fuck.
Yeah. I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna be at home with my kids all day, I'm gonna listen to everything my son says, and then he just says the same shit over again. I'm like, yeah man, cool.
Just ignore the cunt again. Like I could be back on the road actually.
I do miss parts of stand up. I can certainly feel that, like, and I think this is healthy. I feel like my fucking ego's taken a big dip, which I think is important and it needed to. But like this dip where I'm just like, okay, I do need that. I need external validation. Like, and I really enjoy the external validation of like creating a joke, building up, getting it good and touring it. And, man, I enjoy being a fucking Z-list celebrity. I like going to sold out fucking venues. I like that side of things, but the balance is...
You're also a man of extremes as well. You'll like be gigging non-stop, or you'll be taking time off non-stop.
Yeah, so I mean,
to just have that, like, how I've like done September, where I'm just like, you know what, I need some time off too, but I'm only going to take gigs in Glasgow.
Yeah.
So like every gig that I've done, I've like getting back to my own bed, and I've left the house at about fucking 7 to get there or whatever, right? Like, I've taken time off in a way that I'm not actually taking time off, but I'm taking time off traveling is what I'm doing. That's what I've done with it. Like, maybe you could just do something that way. Just keep us working, but near the house.
Well, that's the thing that sort of kind of happened. I can't reveal anything about any of the projects I'm working on, but there are like 4 separate things happening in my life at the moment, which is essentially paid work where I'm just at home. And none of them are really in like full fruition. Like, I'm not actually doing the actual part of them yet. We're still waiting for things to happen for those things to get going, but they're going to be happening in October, November, December.
And you can't put gigs in the diary based on the fact that your diary might be required for external work.
Yeah, but just so sort of having this thing, I'm like, oh my God, I get to work from home and I still get to do comedy-based things, write comedy-based things. But like, it can be, I can be at home, I can be with the kids for 6 hours and then say to Cara, hey, I need 2 hours out in the studio to actually do some fucking work, and this is getting us fucking paid while I'm at home. That's really good. So, and it certainly opened me up to like just knowing that that's an option at some points in my fucking career. Because I thought people, again, I've said this on the podcast, people are like, you're going to get bored, you're going to miss fucking stand-up. I don't fucking miss it yet. Like,
nah, you don't.
Nah. Like, we've got the fucking Palladium gig in 2 weeks, and I'm going to have to ask for the footage from Istanbul because I do not know the show can't.
Do you know what? I had an anxiety dream the other day, and I don't get anxiety dreams that often anymore because bad stuff happens, you deal with it. Like, the fucking missing luggage, the fucking... Like, just all the things, like, acts not turning up to the gig that you're running and you have to improvise around it. Like, all the stuff I used to have anxiety dreams about at the start of my career, something's happened where I've had to deal with it, and now I know I'm equipped to deal with it if it happens, psychologically. I had one the other day where I was opening for Eminem and I didn't know my set.
Great.
And I got called on stage, but it wasn't to the stage, it was to the balcony, and they didn't know I was going to be there. And I had to get their attention and let them know where I was. And then when I started talking, I couldn't remember any of my jokes.
Yeah.
And they didn't know I was going to be on. And it was like this weird anxiety dream. And I was like, I reckon there's something in that, because we're about to do the Palladium, and I'm going to do the old material from the previous show that I've been doing on your tour.
Aye.
The stuff I've been opening on the Con tour, because I want people from the Palladium to come and see my solo show in London, which is going to be all my new stuff.
You can put 7 minutes of this show into that set, though. Or
But then
10.
that would make it a harder memory game, because the links between stuff wouldn't be there.
Aye,
I
back
think it would be easier to just like refresh, do a little refresher course on the material that I'm going to be doing for you, so that I can do. And again, with the show, I've only been doing like 20 spots in the last month, but I've got enough muscle memory from the show from August.
If you are coming to the Palladium show, I warn you now, I have not done stand-up since the 19th of May. And at that point, May, June, July, August, September, October, it'll be 4.5 months since I'll have set foot on fucking stage.
That's mad. And you do a long time as well. Because I was talking to Cullen backstage at the Glee, like if you had to just keep on going to the crowd from the minute you walk on stage to the minute you've run out of stuff to say, or you're like going to repeat old material you've already done, how long do you think you could go on for?
3.5.
Do you think 3.5?
Yeah.
Because I reckon it would take a little bit of brushing up, right? But I could do Mischief and I could do Gallivanting both tonight, back to back.
Yeah.
So that would be 2 hours. And I reckon there'd be enough muscle memory there on routines like I Know What You're Doing in There, The Man of the House, Ta-da, even, like stuff that I've done as club set.
Yeah.
I could probably like blast out another 30 minutes to an hour where it was still solid stuff. So I reckon I could probably get to 3 hours before I completely burnt out of material. And you tend to do like 2 hours in a show.
I can't remember a single word from X. I could do a fair bit of Hubris. I could do most of Kant. Whoa, fucking jeez, my memory's fucking appalling. So yeah, maybe 3.5. Yeah.
Right, you do 3.5.
Aye.
So just the recent show, if you brushed up on it, and then sections of the other shows.
And then I would remember certain jokes from certain shows, but I would never be able to do a full fucking run. Aye.
Yeah.
Right, I got to pee for the next question.
Daniel Ford asks, when is Gav coming on the pod?
Gav would be good on the pod, actually. You know how there's like certain mates that, even though they're not comedians, that you think they'd be good. Like, I'm 100% going to have Sid on when he's up next week, because I'm just going to get questions off the patrons to ask him about like being a vet. So it's like having a vet on the podcast, but one that can also compose himself and talk to the audience and be fun. Like, I knew when I went, can you remember when I went down and had Matty and Ricketts on the pod? You know, so it was just we're like hitting deadlines with the podcast, but we're like a bit behind, and Matty and Ricketts come on, and Matty was just an absolute natural on it.
Aye.
You've been there with Matty on? We've done like a Both Best Men podcast, one of the early ones in like 2016.
Oh, yeah.
Like Matty was good, but I think Gav would be another one where he would be like super interesting and have a lot to say.
Yeah. What was the question?
We're going to have Gav on the pod?
Oh,
That was
yeah,
the
Gav
question,
would be
right?
good. I've also not spoken to fucking Gav in so goddamn long.
He's hard to speak to because you send him a message and he'll reply in like 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's where I'm
And
at.
he'll not even open the message. Like, he's in group chats. If he opens his phone in WhatsApp, he'll scroll and it'll just be hundreds of numbers.
Yeah.
Like,
That's fatherhood.
Yeah. Because like I'll tend to find moments in my day when I can catch up on WhatsApp. I'll not always engage with it.
Yeah.
But I'll always like taking a shit at the gym, like handful of like moments in the time, like fucking where you'll just have a little scroll catch up. Like, he doesn't let any of that shit in. So like, even if you message him, you're like waiting for him to be like delayed for a flight before he's ever gonna do that.
Aye. I'd have him on. I'd talk to him again.
He talked to him once more.
Aye.
Lily Jean Berry asks, if you guys do end up doing a show in Australia when you're out there for Jean's wedding, will you let us Patreon members know, even if it's supposed to be secret, so we can organise travel and make sure we don't miss it?
Yeah, look, I'll be straight up with you right now. If I'm doing shows that time, it's going to be at the Sydney Comedy Store.
And it's going to be work in progress.
Yeah.
Or going to be just new ideas, fresh from the notepad.
There's a potential that I could also pop down to Melbourne and do Reese and Karen's Comedy Republic and do a couple of shows there.
If we're both hanging around in Melbourne, we'll definitely put a podcast on as well, even
Yeah.
if it's just something that we'll put out to the patrons.
Also, hold on. Speaking of, I've told you both the story, but it belongs on the fucking podcast about my weirdly successful drug deal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Right.
tell this story.
Right. So, Reese and Kyron, I was talking to Reese about this. I was like, they must be my oldest friend in comedy. Like, apart from you. But I even think I met Reese the year before. Or it might have been like I met them in the March, April at the Fringe. Not at the Fringe, at the Sydney Festival. And then the Fringe that year in Edinburgh.
Yeah,
was the first
2009
time I met-
Fringe. So you had like a year where like you were seeing other people
Yeah.
before we got steady.
Yeah. So just my oldest friends in the fucking world. They were up. Reese was doing a tour up here. They decided to take me out for my birthday. Mm-hmm. And Reese is like, "Can you get some weed?" And I'm like, "Jesus Christ, I haven't fucking like, not that I haven't bought weed in ages, but I was close. I was past my 100 days sober from weed." I was like, even before those 100 days, when I was getting weed, I was
Like, is it a 20 bag anymore? Has there been inflation? Like, what do you get?
I'm so used to just buying
Is it
it
in
from
grams now?
I'm so used to buying from fucking Telegram where you're like, "Hey, can you send an ounce to my door and a bunch of fucking edibles?" And then the next day, my postie turns up being like, "This bag stinks." And I'm like, "I'll bet it does, bud."
You coming in?
Whereas now, I've not texted my dealer in so fucking long. So I text my old dealer being like, "Hey, man, is this still your number?" And he goes, "Yeah, what are you after?" I'm like, "Hey, I don't know weights anymore, but can I just get like a bunch of fucking weed?" He's like, "Sure. I don't really do weed anymore, but I'll ask around." So he doesn't reply the rest of that night. Vintage fucking drug dealer. Next day, I'm like, "Hey, if you can still get it today, that'd be fucking great. My friend's leaving tomorrow." He messages, goes, "I'm meeting my guy tonight. I can meet you outside the restaurant that you're going to and sell it to you then." And I'm like, boom, ideal, done. We get to the restaurant and he's like, "I'll be outside in 5 minutes. White Volkswagen Golf." And I'm like, great. Sat down for dinner. We ordered some drinks. Get a message. I'm outside. I go, great. Excuse myself. Walk out, cross the road, down the street that we were going to go to. And there's a white Volkswagen Golf. Sort of not parked in the middle of the road. It's a quiet street, but it's parked to the side. But there's like some construction there, and it's just like, and the lights are on. Now, my drug dealer, last time I was there 4 fucking years ago, it was the standard thing of like, it's just him. I get in the car, we have a little 5-minute conversation. He gives me the bag, I give him money, we fuck off. This time, I'm walking towards the car, and I look in, and there's like 3 people in the car. And the person driving is not my drug dealer. And the person in the passenger seat is not my drug dealer. And there's someone in the back. And I'm like, I can't see them. And I'm like, oh my God, they've gone up in the world.
They can chaperone around.
He's got a fucking... I like
that golf.
Well, yeah, but like, yeah, I mean, he's got a driver now. This is like fucking good for him. His business is going up in the world. And I'm walking towards, and the passenger gets out.
Of course he's gone up in the world. He's not doing weed anymore.
Passenger gets out of the car, and because I'm white and a Z-list celebrity, I'm like, well, I'm never going to be fucking arrested for anything in my life. So I'm just counting out money as I'm walking along. The passenger walks past me and goes, "Hey man, I've got the stuff, follow me." And I'm like, oh, okay.
Cloak and daggers, is it?
This is a new system, but I turn around, I follow him along, and I'm
He's
like,
been spooked.
I really would have liked to spoke to my drug dealer. I've not seen him in years. I thought he would have enjoyed a catch up, but fair enough.
We used to play FIFA together.
Yeah, and he runs an empire now. Like fucking, give me the goddamn
Am I
update.
getting his little guy?
Yeah,
Is he too big for me now?
Like, what's this? Yeah. So the guy, I'm walking with the guy, and I go, 50 quid, and he goes, yeah, and I go, great. I give him the 50 quid, and he gives me a bag of coke, and I went, oh.
So you know it's not the rocket fuel.
I'm like, man, you're 5 years too late for this. I'm not after coke. He's like,
Put it in your pocket, get out another 50 quid, but the weed though.
Just to keep me alert when I'm stoned. I'm like,
This weed makes me chatty.
I'm like, oh, sorry, man, I'm after weed. He's like, oh, fuck, sorry, man. And he goes back to the car. When he goes back to his car, a girl walks out of her apartment, walks across the road, goes to the car as well. He goes to her, gives her the bag of coke, comes out, gives me my 5 grams of weed, and goes, I got yous mixed up. She was after the coke, you're after the weed. He gives me the weed, I smell it, it's fucking weed. Great, awesome, thank you. I walk back to the restaurant, I text my guy, thanks, man. I go in, I go, I got the stuff, we sit down, we order a meal. 15 minutes later, I left Cara at home with 2 kids. Always want to check in. Oh, I'm like, the second you say the word, I'm home instantly if things get fucking difficult. I check my phone. 5 missed calls. 7 messages.
Come home immediately.
None from Cara.
No.
All from my dealer going, hey man, where are you?
This is so incredible.
And I'm like, what? He goes, I'm here. And I'm like, okay. He's like, I've got the green. I'm like, I've got the green.
I've just bought it off you.
He's like, what? So I phone him up. And I'm like, yeah, man, I just picked up. And he's like, from who? And I'm like, the white Volkswagen Golf. And he's like, I'm on the street. I'm like, I saw you in your fucking car. You were in the back. He's like, in the back? Why would I be in the back of my own car? How would I drive it? And I'm like, what? I'm like,
Your guy got out. He took us down the alley.
yeah, and he's like, what guy? And I'm like, your guy, the guy that you have that sells, like
The chances.
And he's like, what are you? And so I walk all the way fucking back, laughing on the phone, and I'm talking 3 cars behind where this other white Volkswagen Golf was.
It's
my guy, just like,
Good places to be, motherfucker. I've been texted I'll be there in 5 minutes to 12 people. You're the reason when this happens.
Oh, no.
You know when this happens to you. He said 20 minutes. It's because of people like you.
I get in the fucking car, and I'm like, I'm sorry, did you not just sell me weed? And he's like, no, do you have weed? And I take out my bag, and I'm like, it's exactly what we discussed. 5 grams.
Did you weigh it up next to his guy? You're bumping his hair, by the way.
No, he was better. My guy. Yeah, he was like, here you go, man. And I was just like, okay. So we have a laugh about that, but I'm like, okay. I'm like,
who's now not got weed?
I'm like,
somebody that was meant to be getting weed there.
The exact same car, the exact street, the exact fucking time. And I'm like, is this like a turf war? And he laughed and went, buddy, it's Edinburgh and it's marijuana. There's not
a turf
wars. What are you fucking talking about? We all own white Volkswagen Golfs. There's no chance this is a fucking turf war. I'm like, okay. I go back to Reese and Kyron. And
they just done a drug deal.
They're like, this white Volkswagen Golf pulled up outside, honked his horn, played some ice cream van music, and we just got it. And to this, I've told this story so many times to friends, and I know Reese
Poor Cara had to hear it like a couple of times in the day because you told me, and then Gareth arrived late, and then you told Gareth, and she's already heard the story. So like, it's so good, like fucking unbelievable. Do you know window cleaners have turf wars?
Aye.
Window cleaners on Happy Someone starts cleaning windows on their patch. Would you be though? Imagine you turn up to clean a window, it's already clean. You're like, wait a minute, it's my bread and butter. This.
Yeah. Is she better than me? Well, I can see you, so yes.
Clean the insides as well. You're like, fuck man, the game's changing. Did have a word start window cleaning. I can't keep up. You clean the inside of the windows. Which, by the way, if you start cleaning the inside of the windows, you're fucking mopping up as well as the window cleaning. You're gonna mop your kitchen and that while you're in there.
Did those guys take down your spider's webs? They took down all the spider's webs. Did they charge you extra for that?
Window cleaner should charge half price for only cleaning half the window. Stand by this, like.
Aye, but then if they're inside the house washing the inside of the windows, then they're not outside watching me masturbate, and then what am I paying them for?
Yeah, it's kind of like it breaks the fourth wall when they actually come in.
yeah, I'm like, the porn became real. The porn became real.
That's your window's like one of them concave ones to make your dick look bigger.
Well, if my dick looked any bigger, the guy wouldn't come in the house.
Squeeze past it. Just trying to clean your window, buddy.
So, before we're going to do another episode for the Patreons with more questions. If you want to see that, you can subscribe to our Patreon and get those.
We're also going to do a prize draw for the people who have subscribed as well.
And if at any point in your life you want drugs, statistically, white Volkswagen Golf.
White Golf.
And
if you're a cop, just pull the Golf sour. Just follow the white Volkswagen Golf.
All of them.
You'll get them eventually.
Yeah. I like how I didn't name my dealer, but just gave away.
But just tell his reg, his address. And fucking, I'm on tour from the 10th of October. Come and see me on tour.
All right, mate, we've all got things on.
Newcastle. I keep selling it, Newcastle.
Aye.
Dead proud. Getting a little bit of civic pride from my hometown. There's other places that need to catch up.
Sunderland.
I'm not doing a gig in Sunderland. Come on, they can fucking drive.
Can they?
I mean, they have to fly from Newcastle to get to Spain. They can get to me gig. So I had a little whinge about Bath on the last podcast, and I sold another few tickets. So that's getting there. But that was the one. You know, when there's just a. Did you ever check numbers when you were touring? Because we used to get there on the day and then
No.
find out the number and like either be like, oh God, or be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah,
So
no.
that on the first one, I've been actually keeping tabs on them. Like
No,
once a week.
Yeah,
once a week I find
not
out.
since. Oh, with the American tour, they would send stuff through just in terms of like letting us know, but that they were sending that through so we could gauge how much merch we'd need. in
And
each
you
place.
could always tell when Marlena was asking you to do like something on socials for that specific gig, and you're like, oh God, so this is going to be rough, and then you get there and it's fine. So yeah, I've been keeping an eye on the numbers, and there's still tickets available for everything, but Newcastle, which sells out straight away, and I put new ones on. So there's currently a new one, but that might be sold out by the time this goes out. But I'll try and put another new one on again. I'll just keep doing it until it slows down, you know. But there's tickets available for everything at the minute. Go on my website and find them. And I think Glasgow's the nearest next one to being sold out.
There you go.